You open your bank app without thinking. It's a quiet moment. No alarms, no warning signs, just numbers staring back at you. You're not broke, you're not reckless, and yet something feels off. Your paycheck came in, bills went out, subscriptions renewed themselves like they always do. Groceries cost a little more again. Nothing dramatic, just enough to make you pause longer than usual. You tell yourself it's fine. Everyone feels this way now. That's the strange part. In 2026, money stress doesn't arrive like a crisis. It creeps in slowly. It hides behind convenience, one-click payments, small monthly charges, and prices that never quite come back down. You're doing everything right, but it still feels tight. That's usually the moment a quiet question forms in your head. Is this just how life works now? Or is there a smarter way to live? One where you feel calm, in control, and ahead? This is where learning how to begin frugal living in 2026 really starts. For years, frugal living followed a familiar script. Stop buying coffee. Cancel everything fun. Track every dollar. Say no more than yes. But if that advice truly worked, you wouldn't still feel this pressure. The problem nobody names is simple. Old frugality was built for a world that no longer exists. A world where spending was visible, where handing over cash made you feel the cost instantly. In 2026, money leaves quietly through apps, auto renewals, digital upgrades, delivery fees, and subscriptions you barely remember signing up for. You're not overspending. You're over-automated. Most money decisions now happen without you. They're designed that way. Defaults are set. Renewals are silent. Convenience does the work. So when someone tells you to just cut back, it feels exhausting before you even begin. That's why traditional frugality feels like punishment. It relies on constant self-control in a system built to drain it. The issue isn't your discipline. It's the outdated rules you were taught to follow. Frugal living in 2026 needs a different approach, one that works with human behavior, not against it. Frugality didn't always mean what it means today. After major wars and economic hardship, frugal living was about survival. People reused everything because they had to. Later, during financial crises like 2008, frugality became fear-based. Spend less, save more, prepare for the worst. Then the world changed again. By the early 2020s, money became invisible. Taps replaced cash. Subscriptions replaced ownership. Spending stopped feeling like a decision and started feeling like background noise. Now, in 2026, frugality has quietly evolved into something new. It's no longer about being cheap or denying yourself comfort. It's about resilience, about staying steady in a system designed to move fast and take more from you every year. The question has shifted. Not, how little can I live on, but what actually improves my life? That small change makes all the difference. Frugal living as power, not deprivation. Frugal living in 2026 has a new meaning, and it's not what most people expect. It's not about cutting joy. It's not about guilt. And it's not about living smaller than your potential. Real frugality today is about power. Every dollar you spend is a vote. In the past, those votes were loud and deliberate. Now they're quiet, automatic, and constant. Frugal living is simply taking those votes back. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" the better question becomes, does this actually improve my life? That shift changes everything. You stop chasing cheap options and start choosing meaningful ones. You remove waste, not comfort. You add intention where money leaks without thought. You don't need extreme discipline. You need clarity. When you live this way, spending feels calm, saving feels natural, and money stops feeling like something that controls you. Frugal living isn't about having less. It's about having control in a world that profits when you don't. The first shift. Audit your life, not your budget. Most people begin frugal living with a spreadsheet. That's usually where they lose momentum. Budgets focus on numbers, but money moves because of life, your habits, your stress, your energy. That's why the first real shift isn't tracking every dollar. It's auditing your life. Instead of asking where your money went, ask how it felt to spend it. Look back at the past month. What purchases drained you? Which ones brought relief, confidence, or freedom? You'll notice something quickly. Some expensive choices were worth it. Some cheap ones felt pointless. This awareness changes everything. When you connect spending to emotion, patterns appear fast. You see which expenses exist out of habit, which exist out of pressure, and which truly support your life. Once you see that, frugal living stops feeling like sacrifice. It starts feeling like alignment, your money finally matching your priorities. The second shift, design invisible wins. If frugal living feels hard, it's usually because too much of it depends on you remembering to be strong. In 2026, the smartest money habits work quietly in the background. These are invisible wins, small systems that save money without daily effort or constant self-control. Instead of fighting convenience, modern frugality redirects it. You add gentle friction before spending and remove friction when saving. Pauses replace impulse. Structure replaces stress. Willpower fades. Systems don't. When frugality runs automatically, you stop feeling restricted. You stop negotiating with yourself. Savings grow quietly, and spending becomes intentional instead of reactive. The goal isn't to think about money more, it's to think about it less, while staying firmly in control. There's usually a moment that changes everything. It doesn't come after a disaster. It comes on an ordinary day. Someone like you realizes they're tired, not of spending money, but of thinking about money all the time. The checking, the guilt, the sense of doing okay but never feeling secure. So they stop trying to optimize every decision. Instead of asking how to save more, they ask how to feel calmer. They remove a few quiet drains. They keep what matters. Nothing dramatic happens, but the stress softens. That's when frugal living finally sticks. Not because it's strict, but because it brings relief. The third shift: spend more on what frees you. This is where frugal living starts to feel counterintuitive. At some point, you realize that saving money at all costs can actually cost you more time, energy, and peace of mind. In 2026, true frugality isn't about spending the least. It's about spending well. Sometimes that means spending more on the things that free you, tools that save hours, services that reduce stress, choices that protect your health, focus, or mobility. These expenses don't drain you, they give something back. The mistake most people make is treating every dollar the same. But not all spending has the same impact on your life. Some purchases quietly compound in value. Others quietly exhaust you. When you start asking, will this make my life easier next month? Your decisions change. You stop chasing cheap fixes and start building stability. You spend less overall because you're not constantly replacing, repairing, or recovering. Frugal living isn't about shrinking your world. It's about removing friction from it. And once you experience that freedom, you understand why modern frugality feels less like sacrifice and more like self-respect. Frugal living in 2026 doesn't look dramatic from the outside. There are no extreme rules, no constant no feeling of being behind. It looks calm. You spend money without guilt because you already decided what matters. You don't chase every deal, and you don't feel pressure to keep up. Your expenses feel lighter, not because they're gone, but because they're intentional. A normal day feels different. You're not checking your balance out of anxiety. You're not surprised by charges you forgot about. When something costs more, you pause. Not to panic, but to choose. There's space to think,
Space to plan.
space to say yes when it counts. This version of frugality isn't about perfection. It's about direction. Small, thoughtful choices made consistently. Over time, they add up to confidence, stability, and a quiet sense that you're no longer reacting to money. You're leading it. You return to that quiet moment, the one where you open your bank app and felt unsure, not panicked, just unsettled.
Now you understand why.
The stress was never about how much you earned. It wasn't even about how much you spent. It came from letting too many decisions happen without you. Money drifted, and with it, your sense of control. Frugal living in 2026 isn't a drastic reset. It's a quiet, powerful choice to pay attention again, to decide instead of react, to protect your future without punishing your present. You don't need to become stricter. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to choose calm over chaos, clarity over noise. And when you do, something changes. Money stops being a source of pressure and starts becoming a source of confidence. Not because you have more, but because you're finally in control. If this perspective resonated with you, don't rush past it. Save this video, like and subscribe, share it with someone who feels the same quiet pressure. Or start today with one small, intentional choice. Frugal living doesn't begin with restriction.